We're not waiting for opportunity, we create an opportunity. We're not waiting for opportunity, we create an opportunity. I used to be feeling like crap, yo, like seriously. You know, I had two children prior to my wife with two different ladies or females. And it got stressful, like really stressful. Um, some things are still being sorted today, with the relationships with me and my sons. I have two older sons, um, older boys. I say sons because one is a man and the other one is about a couple years from being a man legally, you know what I mean? And it was so much chaos, annoyance, anger, like everything, child support, you name it, right? Even when I had like split custody of one, like I still barely got to see him. You know what I mean? Joint custody, it said it on it. This is before the whole 50-50 thing came about that I heard about later on. But it was so much stuff that transpired. That, that was my first. And my second son, his mom ended up taking him to somewhere else, and all this stuff transpired. And it was just like hard. And I was made to be, the asshole. And it was just so difficult, man. I was so upset. And I used to be like, yo, I always wanted a relationship with my pops. You know what I'm saying? Cause I always looked up to my pops. Like, it was just like, he was like a god to me. For some particular reason, he was just like a god to me, my pops, right? He could like never do no wrong to me, even when he did, like, you know what I'm saying? And if I was upset at him, I could forgive him quickly, I just always wanted that, which we never really got to have, So, so when I had my son, I'm like, yo, you know what I mean? My first, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna have my son, like, I'm gonna be there, even though I'm not with her, whatever the case is. That it didn't work out that way. It was like, it was rough, For me, my situation where I was sitting at, it was very difficult to get to having a relationship with my child. And then it started getting difficult for him to want a relationship with me at the time because he was pulled in two different places. And I didn't want that for him because I remember how that felt with my mom and dad at a young age, you know what I mean? And I always respect my mother for apologizing to me at the age of 15 for being anything a part of that she did because of our relationship and what she felt for my father. And I always respected her as a lady for that, for doing that, because she didn't have to do that. And she did tell me that, and she apologized, and she tried to make our relationship, me and my father's relationship, better as I got older, But I always respected her for that. But taking a responsibility. But it just didn't work out that way. It was just like with me and my first son's mom was just like constant, like I guess it was her way or was no way. And it's like, I got joint custody. I'm not even trying to be involved, whatever. And I'm paying child support, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just trying to be with my child. But it was like her way or no way. She told me, like, I'm the mother and this and that, the whole whatever. And she's young at this time, too. And then I went ahead and I messed around and I got another chick pregnant. Who told me to do that, right? I wasn't trying to. I really wasn't trying to. It was an accident. And I was speaking to her about it, like, this and that. And she decided to have him. And when she did, I'm like, all right, I'm going to be there. I don't want to be with you. It's like, I want to be with my son, though. Like, it's another boy. I just want to be. I remember when I went to go see him, it was crazy. Like, I called her out of nowhere, right? Because we weren't talking. She was pregnant. We weren't talking. I ran into like once or twice. Wasn't talking because we weren't together like that. So I called her and I was like, hey, what you doing? She was like, nothing. She was like, small talk. So I'm like, where you at? She's like, the hospital. I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, oh, I'm about to have the baby. And I'm like, what? And she's like, real nonchalant, like I said, because we wasn't. So I'm like, all right. I'm like, I'm going to link you later. So I'll link her later. And she had him, I guess, right? And I said, I'm going to come up there and see him. So that night, that day he was born, that evening he was born, I got up there that night. because she wasn't letting me know her family was there. You know, all the extra stuff and the dirt. So I wasn't even going with all of that. So I went up there that night and I saw him and I looked at him and was like, yo, there's no way around it. This is my son. Like, I just felt it. Just like, boom, this is my son. There's no way around it. So she let me name him, whatever the case is. And she gave him my name and stuff, my last name and everything too. And then, you know, it just got bad again. I'm just like, you know, it was just like so much negativity. You know what I mean? And then as I was trying to transition and I met my wife and we transitioned trying to, you know, and I'm trying to transition with things in life and I'm understanding that I'm not controlled by stereotypes, stigmas, events in my life that's happened. I can, you know, I'm trying to move forward with that and I'm doing that with my boys right there because I'm like getting them all the time and I'm picking weekends to choose to do it. You know, and I told my wife before we were married, like we were together, I'm like, yo, if it's us, it's not two boys, you know what I mean? So every weekend, so I guess they thought, like, they didn't know, I guess. I'm not talking like they don't have a girlfriend, whatever. So I guess they thought I was just, oh, he's staying home, so we'll give the kids, we don't mind. You know, it changes, of course, once they find out something different, and then shit, thing goes to hell again. So you sit there and you like, man, I'm going through it, man, these years. I'm depressed, I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm resentful. I'm just like everything. I'm like, yo, I'm just like, why? Like, you know what I'm saying? Everything, like, what's going on? I see it affecting my relationship, see it affecting my life, myself. I'm trying to push through, you know. And then I'm just like, it hits me one day and I'm like, you pay for your mistakes. You know, I'm on child support for 2 kids. I don't get to see them. You know, I'm told all this stuff. And it was like, as a child, I was warned by my grandmother. I was warned by even my father, you know, who had kids, you know, from different females. He said, listen to me. You know, my mother, everybody, don't do that. Wait until you get your stuff together. I remember my father telling me those 2 things. Before you have a child, wait till you have yourself set up. And before you smoke weed, wait till you have yourself set up. He said, don't do those 2 things unless you have yourself set up, right? My mom telling me the same thing. Wait to have a child because your life just changes. Everything is, you know, taken away. You in the person situation. It's difficult. It's a harder uphill battle. And you are a black male already here in America. I'm just like, you know, I figured I'm a thug. I'm like, whatever, woo. And then when it happens now, I'm like, man, like, this is for real. So that's when it hit me one day. And I'm like, yo, I got to pay for my mistakes. And then I thought about how my kids had to pay for my mistakes and how they had to pay for their mother's mistakes. And I felt like how I had to pay for my mother and father's mistakes and they had to pay for theirs. And then I realized how it could build me if I allow myself to pay for it. So I no longer went to my sons or their mothers in a negative way or in anger or resent. I just allowed my sons to be who they wanted to be and told them I'm here when you're ready. I'm here when you're ready and you want this relationship. I don't want to hold anything over your head. I'm your father, that, this and that. Nothing about me and your moms. I don't disrespect their moms to their face, nothing like that. You know, I just want to have a relationship with you, however we can do that, to be a father and son for life. And that's how I moved at it. I took my licks because I should have listened when I was warned and told the issues that could happen of being a young black male having a child and also not being well off financially or even ready age-wise, because I was young when I had my kids, you know, and it affected a lot of things. And that's why my hat's off to like my wife for always standing by me, because she knew how emotionally I was hurt and taken back by missing my kids. And everybody looking at me like I don't want my kids. And I'm like, I want my kids, you know what I mean? I want to be with my boys. I enjoy them, like she enjoyed them. Like, luckily, when we got married, I don't know how we finagled it, but they were in our weddings. And we had a ceremony with them involved. You know, my wife did pick the one with the sand and everything. And it was on the beach, you know what I mean? And it was so great that my boys were in my wedding, you know? So it was just like, but I had to pay, it hit me. You know, I think they were like, because they're like 3 years apart. So I want to say, he was like in junior, he was like probably in junior high, the oldest, and the other one's probably like going to junior high when it hit me. Now I was like, I have to pay for this, and that's when my thought process and my pain and my frustration changed. That's when that shit changed. That's when it was like, nah, you can't live like this. You can't live in this anger. You can't live in this frustration. Everyone else is going to live the life they want to, with or without you. You need to live the life that you want. And I just wanted to be happy and peace and joy, and content. So I had to come to terms with things that I did wrong. Me sleeping with women and out there reckless, that's what happens. Me not taking the advice that I was told, that's what happens. You know what I mean? I had to eat that. It's not okay just to sleep around and have children. It's not okay. Because it affects the child. I was that child. A lot of you were that child, those children. It's not okay when we by ourselves and we watching our family or mother struggle, or when we want to talk to our pops or our moms and we can't. It's not okay. When we feeling alone, when the stress and the burden is in the house and you can feel it and cut it with a knife when you in there. It's not okay. You understand? It's not okay. It's not okay on either side. You gotta take some responsibility for that. And I took my responsibility for it because I could just point the fingers at them the whole time. And I'm like, man, that's not gonna do anything. That's not gonna bring my boys back to me. And luckily now my oldest, he's back around. And he's hanging out with me. He's hanging out with his brother, his little brother. Me and my wife have a son and daughter. And he's hanging out with him and his sister. He's talking to me about things with life. We hanging out, we kicking it, we playing basketball. You know what I'm saying? We're playing dominoes. His girlfriend coming by, we kicking it. He's sleeping over. He watching the kids. Me and my wife go on a date. And we better for it. We better for it. I allow him to be him. I'm there to support him. I'm there to be his support when he needs it. I'm there to be the guy who will tell him the truth or reasoning when he don't want to hear it. And still be the one to tell him the best things about him. You know what I mean? Because I want the best for him. So it's like, and if I never transpired years ago with that change in my mind, when he came in, it would have been a bunch of resentment. It would have been, why you this, and you hearing that, and this and that, and whatever. It was, only thing was for me was protecting the young two. It was like, okay, hey, they don't know, they keep the innocence. My wife always tells me, let's keep these children's innocence. Let's let them be children for now. You understand? Let's let them be children for now. So that was the only thing that was important to me. And as he understood that, because he was like, hold on, that's my little brother, my little sister. He's like, I'm right, because he looked at them like that. He created a relationship with, that's my little brother, my little sister. I don't want nothing. I don't want them feeling no way. You know what I mean? I can protect these. And it just spiraled into something great for all of us. But I had to pay for my mistakes. I had to pay for my actions. And I tell you guys the story because there's a lot of other things in life you got to pay for your actions. And it's going to cost. One way or another, it's going to cost you. And if you're not willing to pay it or realize it, then don't do it. And if you're sitting there still angry about something, that you just chalk it up and take it and pay it and move on. It's like getting your credit together, right? Eventually you got to pay it, or it's just going to mess up your credit, right? Because some things don't fall off, like student loans, right? You got to pay it. You got to pay to learn. You understand? Student loans don't fall off your credit. That don't come off. That stays there forever. You understand? Because you got to pay to learn. So you're going to pay for your mistakes. That's paying to learn. Take that, man. Don't stress out on it. Learn from it. Allow it to build you and make you that better person so you can take off. You know what I mean? So we're not waiting for opportunity. We creating opportunity. We're not waiting for opportunity. We creating opportunity.